Y'all, it's the big sneeze. We got a good video today. Is Jesse Lee Peterson talking to some social studies, gender study teaching lady woman, whatever, man. Whatever, man. Good conversation. I was surprised. I'm kind of proud of Jesse Lee Peterson because the coonery in this video it wasn't bad. It was like, it was leveled. Like, you know, his remarks just made sense. He did a good job. Good job.
What is gender studies?
So gender studies is sometimes you'll hear, sometimes departments are called women's studies, sometimes they're called gender studies. They have a history that goes back to what's often called the second wave women's movement in the 1970s. They didn't exist before that. But they are departments that specialize in studying relations of gender. And so what is gender? Well, typically the way I teach it in my sociology of gender class is that there is biological sex, and these are the differences, physical differences
between male
and female,
okay.
Yes. And then gender are the social meaning that we give to those physical differences.
The reason why the lady is thinking there's a difference between sex and gender because of a study that was done by a doctor that goes by the name of, I believe, John Money. His name was John Money. John Money performed a circumcision on a boy, and what happened was he made a oopsie. He made an oopsie to where this man completely eviscerated the penis. So the penis is gone. So what he did is he went incision from the nutsack up, pretty much removed the testes, inside out, like kind of stuck it into the baby and formed it to look like a vagina. And then told the mom, you know, they told the parents, you know, first. But then, you know, he told the parents first. But then he said, okay, this is a girl now. You're going to raise him as a girl. You're not going to address him as him. You're going to address him as she. You're going to give her a female name. Then what happened was, when, you know, the baby is, you know, it's a baby, just growing up and stuff like that. And then that's when John Money was like, hey, you see, it's good. It happened. But when the baby got a little older and older, the baby noticed that, you know, I don't like playing with dolls. I want to play with trucks. I want to play with my brother. I want a rough house. Think John Money is gonna say anything about that? Hell no. And then that story didn't really get publicized like that, because why would John Money do that? Why would he say, oh, I performed the surgery, my bad, it went bad? Why would he do that? He's gonna say, oh, I did the surgery and look, it's all good. But then later down the line, that actual person, that boy transition, like adult, went on like a show and was explaining to people like what happened, and like I knew I was in the wrong body, and actually transitioned back. But RIP, because he did kill himself.
And so, I mean, much like race, right? There are some phenotypical differences between people, but the concept of race is a really socially constructed one that depends, you know, in this country is largely constructed through the history of slavery, et cetera. It's a social arrangement, and similarly with gender. So the fact that, you know, pilots are more often men than women, that's not due to some biological difference. That's due to social differences that we ascribe to, at the end of the day, pretty small biological differences.
Meaning that a man who is a pilot is more likely to get you there safely than a woman, because he won't freak out if something should go wrong.
Well, so that those, I love that you raised that. So that idea that like women are non-rational,
right,
or hysterical, that is a kind of that is a stereotype. You know, stereotypes or preconceived notions that are completely false of African Americans being less intelligent than white. Stereotypes or preconceived notions that are completely false of African Americans being less intelligent than white. It's completely unfounded.
Is that unfounded? I thought that was true.
Based on what my research, no, it's absolutely not true. But it's a very useful way to justify subordinating a group. And similarly, for women, you put your finger right on it. You know, women's women being more emotional
Yeah.
is one of the ways that they have been said, well, this person couldn't possibly be in a position of power or control because, how could they have access to like nuclear weapons, right? When they're on their period, they're just going
Right.
to press it.
Next point, she's saying that, oh, I don't understand why people are saying that women are emotional. Put women in healthcare positions, they killed the elderly. They killed the elderly at a higher rate than a regular male nurse taking care of the elderly. When it comes to babies, women kill babies at a higher rate than men. When you put women in gay relationships, woman with a woman, why do they have the highest form of abuse compared to regular relationship, heterosexual relationships, and gay relationships, two men? So what's the factor here? Women are violent, and we cannot put them in positions of power because they are going to overrule you. They will overrule us if we give them that power, and we can't. We can't do that. The human race depends on that.
More likely
Day by day.
Who's more likely to freak out in a situation, a man or a woman?
I don't know that we know that.
I noticed that when I had to get on a plane. And sometimes I see females who are pilots, but there are men with them too.
Making sure they don't freak out.
Right. I remember once I got on a small plane going from somewhere to somewhere, and there were two female pilots, right? I felt very concerned. Very concerned. Whereas had it been two men, I would have felt no concern about it, because I know that women tend to overreact to things because of their emotions.
I think
In
that
gender study, do you study why that is?
well, what we would study is why you would feel that way, and that and how those fears that are actually not any more grounded than some of the other stereotypes we have of other people. It's the white men who are more likely to be the pilots and the surgeons and the CEOs, and women of all races and men of color who tend to be moved into, tend to be have a harder time in those more powerful positions. And so we, in sociology of gender today, and it hasn't always been the case, Black feminists have accused, very rightly so, a lot of feminist authors and gender studies authors for not sufficiently taking into account race. And so I think the best work happening now in gender studies is intersectional, and it's looking not just at how men and women are treated differently, but that knowing that you're never being treated or viewed as just a woman or just as man.
Amazing.
You're always being treated as a white man, a black man, a white woman, black woman, and all of the other possibilities, age and nationality, et cetera.
You mentioned the white man and the pilot, for example. In America, it would be natural to see more white men flying airplanes, because America was created by white people, founded by white people, by white men.
Built by black people.
And then they hired the black people that the Arabs brought in to help build the country. But if you went to Africa, where there are majority blacks, then you would see more black pilots and less white men driving or flying the plane. Am I right? Because of the population.
Well, it's the population, and it's also systems of inequality that are not just historical, but get reproduced every day and are very contemporary.
But you do agree that the population has something to do with it too. If there are more white people or black people in Africa, naturally you're going to see more
so there's not
of
many,
that race.
There are not many Jewish people. 1% of the population. I think Jews are only about 1% of the U.S. population too. And yet you see them nonetheless in positions of authority. This is now, we're moving a little bit out of my area of study because I am not a race scholar.
But I just want, because I'm trying to understand it, but you do consider the population too, right? That if there are more, if you go to Israel, of course you're going to have more Jewish pilots because there are more Jews.
There's also there's also a lot of discrimination and oppression of Palestinians in Israel, so that's part of it too. But no, I mean, just go back to women. Women are over half of the population, and yet we're not half of the pilots.
So you think flying a plane is just like a push of a button? Hell no, man. You gotta look at the temperature. You gotta look at wind, the drag. Nobody is telling girls don't do it. Can't we just come to the conclusion that maybe girls just don't want to do it?
Thank
We're
God,
not half
huh?
of the doctors. We're not half of the surgeons. We're more than half of the nurses. We're more than half of, a lot of other professions, social work. Women are very underrepresented also in the trades.
Because that's what you chose to do. If you want, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women that wants to be doctors, but they probably subscribe to maybe a family. Maybe they wanted to have babies and take care of their babies. Is that a bad thing? While these men outside, while their husbands go outside to go work, is that a bad thing? When you have women like her that want women to be in these masculine jobs to raise up the GDP, and then what do we see? We see a declining birth rate. We see that women don't want to be women no more. They want to go ahead and be a boss babe, but then expect chivalry. This is evil.
Construction.
But that's because they got a late start.
Why is it that we see these patterns in which different races, ethnicities are not evenly or randomly distributed in terms of
But
profession?
life doesn't work like that. Nothing is evenly distributed. Before I get to your new book, I want to ask you about fatness,
Sure.
right? And what is your opinion on fatness? What do you think about it?
So
Because I noticed that people are trying to push fatness like it's a nice thing, right? You got all these fat women running around half naked and showing their fat butts and shit.
So where's that? I haven't seen that spot.
There's one black rapper right now, woman.
Lizzo?
Yeah, she is gross and she's old and she's fat. And
No, that must not be the person
rapper.
we're
Is it
talking
Lizzo?
about. No.
Yeah, Lizzo.
She's not old.
She was at a fat ball.
If Lizzo's
fat ball.
old, then I'm ancient, and let's not even start.
I'm anxious. God made me and then he made dirt for me to walk on. But that's how old I am. But what do
Lizzo is
you
pretty gorgeous in my opinion. But
what do you think about fatness?
so
What's your opinion?
so I mean, I published this book in 2013, What's Wrong with Fat? And what I was trying to answer in this question was, how is it that we have come to believe in this world, and your statements are a great example of this. How have we become so certain that it's unhealthy, it's undesirable, it's ugly? Like, where is that coming from, and what are the social implications of that?
So let me ask, I'm black and I'm slow, so I may ask in a weird way. Are you trying to prove that fatness doesn't cause diseases and death, or it's not? It doesn't cause high blood pressure and all that stuff?
I'll leave to the epidemiologists and the medical doctors to debate that out.
I'm going to end the video right there. If you like it, please like, subscribe, share. If you learned something, if you want to talk that bourgeoisie shit, hit me in the comment section. I'm here to debate everybody. You hear me? But yeah, like, subscribe. I'll holler at you next one. Peace.